What's up guys, it's Justin here, and today I've got a review or my experience video of the DJI Spark entry-level drone that DJI recently introduced, and I believe this is going to be the perfect toy for the summer. So a couple years back, drones were really for the enthusiasts. They were a little bit more expensive and you really had to like them to want to spend the money on them. And I personally had the DJI Phantom 3, the Phantom 4, the Inspire 1. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I haven't had the best experiences with drones. So in the past couple years, I've kind of laid off on them and haven't really bought them or flown them. When the Spark was initially introduced though, I just had to get my hands on it and at least give it a try. And it's crazy that DJI has able to take their technology onto something even smaller than the Mavic. When I was at VidCon a couple weeks ago, I saw a lot of people looking at this drone and were very interested by it. There was a few demonstrations set up and thankfully nobody let me fly theirs, but I finally got my own, and I have to say it's a first drone that I haven't really been scared to fly. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do, because I upload tech videos every single week, and also leave a like on this video if you would like to see me do some more videos on drones. So the Spark starts out just around $500 and is half the price of DJI's next cheapest current drone, which is the Mavic Pro. Of course, you can also get the Phantom 3 at a lower price point, but I believe that drone is more for people who know what they're doing and want a drone to do some commercial work, for example, as opposed to a drone that has object avoidance, tracking features, gesture control, and also the ability to just control it straight from your smartphone. At $500 though, you get a really bare bones setup, and that is the reason why I wanted to review this drone just at its $500 price point, just to show how good of an experience you can still get at that entry level. This price point doesn't come with a remote or any spare batteries. It literally just comes with a drone, the single battery, a styrofoam case to take it around, and also some extra set of props. For $200 more though, you get a bag, a charging station, 2 batteries, some prop guards, and it also comes with a remote that allows you to clip your phone in and control it in conjunction. With the starter pack and using your phone to control the drone, you get 100 meters of range and 50 meters in height, while with the remote you get 2,000 meters in range or 2 kilometers. So you really have to decide how much you want to spend on this particular drone, and at $700, whether or not you want to go ahead and upgrade to the Mavic or go with something like the Phantom. But let's just start out by talking about the build quality and the form factor. So the drone itself is very small and compact, and I don't think it does justice just from seeing pictures online. When I first saw it at VidCon for the very first time, it was smaller than I even thought. For reference, the main body of the Spark is within the size of my iPhone 7 Plus, and it weighs in at just 300 grams, which is insane because the Mavic Pro, which is already pretty compact, comes in more than double that at 734 grams. It's available in 5 different colors, including white, red, blue, yellow, and green, and I think the safest bet is to get the white model, but you can also get a dbrand skin like I've done here, which allows you to completely customize the entire drone beyond just the main shell, and it also protects it in case you happen to crash it by accident, which is very likely to happen to me. The yellow was out of stock at the time of making this video, so I think the skin looks just as good, and I'll leave a link down below if you want to check them out. The drone itself is made mostly out of hard plastic aside from the rotors, and I believe that it's a very well built drone and it doesn't feel flimsy or weak in any way, and at the size it definitely makes it a lot lighter. The drone itself has 2 different sensors, one on the front and one on the bottom, that is good for object avoidance and also assisting with the gestures and the landing, while in the back you're going to find a micro USB port for charging and also a micro SD card slot. The propellers are all built in and fold up, but they can be replaced in the event that you need to, and below each prop is a set of LED lights that show the indication of the drone when it comes to the mode and also the orientation. So before I talk about battery and the gestures, let's just go ahead and talk about video quality, because I'm sure you're all anxious about what the quality looks like on this drone, and just check out some of the footage I recorded. You have a 2-axis gimbal with a 12 megapixel camera with a CMOS sensor built in that is able to record 1080p video at up to 30 frames per second and 24 megabits per second for those who are wondering. Although I would normally record in a manual mode, I decided that since this drone is meant for beginners, I would record it in auto mode and just show what the built-in algorithms are able to determine in recording good video quality right out of the camera. So everything here is recorded in auto, and for 1080p footage, I think it looks really good, and if you want to share to social media or just create a travel vlog, I think the footage will be perfectly fine. For its size, it's very stable, and I flew it around the water a few times, which would normally be a bit more windy, but it was able to handle things perfectly fine at around 10 kilometers an hour of winds. The drone itself has a max speed of 30 kilometers an hour, and all in all, I really like the footage I was able to just take out and record on the DJI Spark. With that being said, if you're a professional, then I definitely recommend you probably check out the DJI Mavic Pro or the Phantom 4, because with 4K, it just gives you more flexibility when it comes to your video quality for editing and stuff. And one thing that I also noticed is I don't think you can put an ND filter on the DJI Spark, which is something that I've been doing with all of my past drones, especially when recording outside and maintaining a good shutter speed. To reiterate though, for home videos and just some fun travel videos, social media, the quality is very good. So when it comes to the battery life, you have to remember that this drone is very small. 300 grams is insanely light, and just the form factor and how much they've been able to pack into this thing when it comes to the technology and the sensors, the cameras and everything, the battery life isn't going to be that impressive, and it's decent but nothing amazing. On the back of the battery, you have your power button and also your battery indicator lights. The claim battery life on the DJI Spark is 16 minutes, and the battery itself is only about 1480 milliamp hours. They cost $49 each and are relatively compact in size, but you will want to have a few around, and that is one of the things that the starter pack is missing, as it only comes with one battery. From my testing, I would say that you should only expect to get about 12 to 13 minutes of footage effectively on the DJI Spark, because when you reach the 30% battery life mark, it will start to come back to you, and you should probably land it because you don't want this thing to die while it's in the middle of the ocean. What I really love about this drone though, and wish just like every single household and technology item had the option to do, is charge without an AC adapter, and you can use a micro USB cable to charge the DJI Spark entirely, which means you could take a battery pack with you, such as one from Anker, and charge it up while you're on the go. Just a couple battery packs that I could recommend and have been using with the DJI Spark are the Anker PowerCore 10,050 and also the 20,100. And if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I've had a ton of battery packs, and Anker are the ones that haven't failed on me yet in terms of safety problems and just total capacity. The reason why I could recommend these is because they're relatively small when it comes to the capacity that they're at. But what's most important is that these battery packs have USB ports that can charge the DJI Spark's battery at 2.4 amps maximum output, which is very close in terms of speed to the wall adapter that DJI includes with the drone. I was able to charge up the DJI Spark's battery from about 10% to 100 in well under 2 hours, which was handy because in between flights, I was running some errands and just had this charging in my car because I was too cheap to buy a spare battery, which I probably should have done. But I'm going to leave a link to these down in the description section below if you would like to check them out for yourself. So one of the key selling points that DJI was pushing with the Spark is just how easy it is to use, and the fact that it is the first drone for everybody. Whether you're just starting out, you've never touched a drone before, you want to get into your first drone, or if you want to get some cool video for social media or just to create some travel videos, this drone is easy to use and there's no arguing that. So when it comes to flying this drone, you have 3 different options, whether it's using your hand gestures with no smartphone or anything controlling it whatsoever. You can also use your smartphone and connect to the DJI Go app. And lastly, you can also get the remote with the bundle, which allows you to control the drone using your smartphone and the controller. When it came to controlling your drone with the phone, that was personally my favorite option and what I use pretty much every single time. And all you have to do is turn on the drone and connect it via the Wi-Fi to your smartphone and go over to the DJI 4 app, which is available on iOS and Android. And for me, iOS was very reliable, but if there's any Android users out there, go ahead and leave a comment down below as to what your experience was, just to help some people out. For those who have owned DJI drones before, the app is very familiar when it comes to controlling your camera settings on the right side and everything else on the left side, and all of the information of the drone itself, the flight info, the battery, the status, is for the most part the same as the other models displayed along the top, and I think DJI has done an incredible job. With that being said though, one of the biggest limitations of using your smartphone to control the drone is that through Wi-Fi you only have 100 meters in total range, give or take, and with the remote controller you can expand that to 2 kilometers, which is way more. Since I'm not that good at flying these though, about 100 meters is around as far as I would personally want to have my drone because I could still see it in sight, so that worked for me just based on this review. Just a few of the smart features on the Spark that we've seen on other DJI drones before, the higher end ones using the sensors and its smart technology, is Quick Shot, which allows you to predetermine the drone's movements for cinematic shots around your selected target. Tap Fly, for example, allows you to tap the phone screen and make it fly a certain spot or hold it down with your finger to fly in a certain direction. And lastly, the famous Active Track, which we have been seeing on more drones now, allows you to follow an object just by tapping on it and drawing a box around it, and from my experience, it worked pretty well. The last way to control the drone though is using gestures, which is what I didn't use as much but was really cool and what people seem to be most intrigued by when I was at VidCon. If you have the setting enabled, all you have to do is double tap the power button on the drone and let it go, and it will start to hover within the spot. And from there, you're almost able to just summon the drone and take control of it just by using your hand and waving it at the direction that you would like it to go. This will allow you to control it when it comes to going up, down, right, or left. You can wave to make it fly away, or also use hand gestures to have it take a photo or video of you. And when you want it to come back, just wave both hands and it will fly back to you, and just hold your hand underneath the drone and it will land directly on your hand. Landing a drone is definitely something that I'm most intimidated by because I've had a couple accidents from that, but this drone landed perfectly fine whether it was landing on the hand or just by having it land on a flat surface. But now I just want to wrap things up in terms of my experience with the DJI Spark drone, because I tried to cover most categories, but there's definitely a lot to it, so I hope I didn't miss anything major. But I have to say, I really like this drone much more than I originally expected to. I'm someone who does care about video quality because I make YouTube videos, so I wanted something that had 4K, and with my DJI Phantom, which I haven't flown in a while, I just haven't really been getting into drones, and the main reason for that is because the DJI Phantom is relatively big with its case, and whenever I travel, I just don't want to check in another piece of baggage. The DJI Spark is something that you can literally toss into your backpack at any time while not taking up too much space. You can charge it on the go because it has micro USB. And if you have your phone, because let's be real, nobody goes anywhere without their phone now, then you can just connect it to the drone and get some sick aerial footage wherever you are, as long as you're within an area that you should be flying your drone and not near an airport or anything. Although I was very satisfied with the 1080p video recording capabilities on the Spark, I just would have liked it to see it have like a 2K or maybe a 4K resolution, but I totally understand that this is an entry-level drone, and at its price, it is already worth every cent. But when it comes down to deciding whether you get the $499 entry model, where it just has a drone itself and what you need to get started and using your smartphone to control it, or going with the Fly More bundle, which has the extra batteries, the charging station, the prop guards, and also the remote control, which is overall a very good value for an extra $200. I believe that if you are going to be flying the drone quite often, the $700 is going to be worth it, and you definitely want to have at least one extra battery from my experiences. For the sake of a $500 drone though, that isn't necessarily considered a toy, but has great features, has good video quality, and comes from a very reputable company that is probably the most popular in the industry of drones, I can definitely recommend the Spark to you, and go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below as to what you think, and I'll see you all in the next video.